You're listening to Bigger Than Belief, real stories about real faith with real people whose belief is unbelievable. I'm your host, Adam Duxter. Thanks for listening to Bigger Than Belief. Today is Thursday, May 21st, and today we've got someone really fun coming in studio. Our first ever chart-topping musician, gospel singer Jovonta Patton joins us for a super wide-ranging interview. He is a Twin Cities native, 7-time Billboard chart-topping gospel artist, and he's done it all without a label. Today, he's got a thriving ministry right here in Minneapolis, over 200,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, and a brand new song out right now. On this episode, we'll talk about how he got his start at a very young age, the role faith plays in his life, and the role worship plays when it comes to faith. Again, so much more. Jovonta truly was an open book in studio. We had so much fun with him here with us. Before we dive into this conversation, if you enjoy today's episode in any way, please take a minute and rate us 5 stars wherever you are listening. Also, take some time and write a review. Shout out to the handful of folks who've done that already. Simply put, if you want to see more conversations about faith and belief in traditional media, or if you just personally want to support this show, that quick action is the number one way to do just that. No joke. All right, folks, we've hyped him up, so now here he is, Jovonta Patton. Well, we now welcome on a very special guest, someone I'm excited to have in and sit and talk to and learn from. It is Jovonta Patton, a 7-time Billboard chart-topping gospel artist, but also a dad, a podcast host in his own right. You've done some acting. I mean,
yes.
Doing my research on you, I feel like there's nothing you don't do.
Well, okay, good. Well, that is good. Thank you, Adam, for having me. Welcome to the Twin Cities.
Yes, it's awesome to meet you and talk because you're the first ever Billboard chart-topping artist that we've had on the show.
Oh, yay.
And you've got a new song coming out.
I do.
May 8th. I want to start there. Music has been your whole life.
My whole entire life, and I have a new song coming out. It's actually a song that people already know. I recorded a choir concert record CD in February. I posted a clip the night after the recording, and it went viral. And so the song has just been getting streams, and a lot of content creators have been doing their own videos, and choirs are singing it around the country. They tag me in videos. So ironically, we have Grammy Award-winning Leandria Johnson, who is a part of the remix of the song. Mm-hmm. So it's the same song with Leandria Johnson on top of that. And so she is like modern-day Shirley Caesar in gospel. And so I'm excited to partner with her and to continue that ride of that song that has taken its own life without me marketing or pushing or making it be what it is.
That's awesome. And for people who aren't familiar with your story, even researching your story, when I say music has been your whole life.
Whole life.
I mean, since you were little.
Yes.
When did you first remember being like, I like music?
I remember at 4 years old at my home church, Berean Missionary Baptist Church, we had a youth choir, a kids choir, and we had this senior choir. Seeing the senior choir, that would be considered the adults at the time, marching down with their robes on, that it was electrifying. It was like something about that I belong with. So I joined the kids choir. One time I missed rehearsal because we didn't have transportation and we missed the church van or communicating properly. I think my mom is very thorough, so I think she communicated. They just forgot me, and that's the truth. But I cried because they didn't let me sing because of rehearsal. So that Sunday morning, my mom was like, "We just still gonna get you dressed, maybe you can still sing." And so that Sunday morning, I remember being four, maybe 5. My mom can verify, but I remember crying because I couldn't sing. And so that, looking back, something was a bit deeper than just missing to sing. Because, if I was into like sports or if I was an athlete or something like that, it would have been like, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Dodge the bullet. But I'm sitting here at 4 and 5 crying because I can't sing with the kids choir. So I think that was that pivotal moment where it was like, there's a little bit something here with you in music. So now when I do kids choirs or I involve children, I never let them not be able to sing because I never want them to get that feeling. Because I didn't learn a lesson from that. Let me be clear. People are like, oh, you probably learned. I learned that adults need to stop being mean.
You were writing music like not even how long after that?
I probably started writing at like 6 or 7.
Wow.
And at that time I was taking notebooks, and just writing it on there and humming songs. So writing music has almost been second nature to me. It's kind of been God's way to build and strengthen my faith when he speaks to me, because if I can hear a melody or a tune out of the clear blue sky, then I probably can hear his voice speak to me too.
When you think back to those days, like what do you remember about the very early days of your faith and just your belief? Was it always something that clicked with you, or how did you kind of get to be where you're at with your faith itself?
Absolutely. It was just, I know this is going to sound like a very like Boys in the Hood response, but it's like it chose me. It's like God chose me because I did not per se like be like the guy, like I want to be like this person, be like this person. Anything that I just had a longing for, I just found my way toward it. I didn't beat anybody's door down. And so from that, I feel like my relationship with God grew. I was always interested in Bible study. Church was always, it wasn't just a pastime, it was intentional. I remember my mom used to give me an allowance a month. I was the youngest, so this is going to sound like we had some money, but no. But I was the youngest, and she would give me $50 a month to, have an allowance. And the first thing I thought about with the $50 was paying my tithes. My mom was always a tithe. She's always been a tithe parent, still is today. But my mind didn't go to, I'm about to go spend money on this and this and that. My first thing was for my pastor, Charles Ford, teaching me, you should pay your tithes. So I was given $5 in tithe, and I was given another $5 in benevolence because we were taught to give a tithe and an offering. And so I just feel like making those decisions at such a young age, that couldn't have been anybody but God's Spirit just prompting me to do that. I felt like ChatGPT, like I was prompted.
It's so interesting because when we talk to people who have like family faith, right, where it's a parent that is instilling faith in them from a young age, it feels like eventually at your life you get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm doing my own thing now. I have my driver's license or a little bit more freedom, and you have an opportunity to kind of either go one way or the other to keep into your faith or to do your own thing. Was there ever that moment for you where it was like, okay, now I've got to go beyond the faith of my mom or my community and make it my own?
Yeah, I had moments. I think one of those times that happened was high school, transitioning to college and choosing college. I was very adamant about going out of state. I wanted to go and be a part of some campus ministry and some choir there and, help out and different things of that nature. But I didn't want to reinstate myself as involved as I had already been at my home church or in my community at the time. Because one of the things I started doing at 16, I started singing at funerals of family member friends and just community people I didn't know that were mainly at that time killed from gang and gun violence. And then it rolled over until like, sickness or whatever else took the person out. But I would say I have thousands of funerals under my belt of gang and gun violence, right? Singing there. At the time, when you're younger, you ain't got nothing to do. Somebody calls you distress. You don't go for money. You just got that nerve in you to help. And it's like, I'll be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't have Uber at the time, so somebody come pick you up or you caught the bus. But ironically, I found my way there. So I was already in that motion by the time I was 16, right? When I'm 17, 18, I hit this pivotal moment where it was like, okay, I can not choose church or I can choose church, but I never could not choose God. And that is where I kind of had that collision of decision making. So when I thought I was going to go to college, everything that I thought would work out, it just didn't work out. And so then I I had started a community choir, and I kept doing that, and it rolled me over to really a stamp and a starting point to where I am today. But that was the moment where I kind of knew, like, I don't really get to choose this. It was like an aha moment, like, and it wasn't like me in pursuit of someone else's life I seen, because as much as my mom is a believer, and she definitely has instilled faith. My siblings have all instilled faith in me. My grandmother. The thing was, it was just my own personal endeavor and role, because my siblings, they were raised in church as well too, but nobody took it like I did. You know, they still all go to church today too, but they like, we're here to love God, we're going to support you, and we're going to go home. Me, I'm like, well, how can we help the wolves and the sheep and the, the fishes? So that was a moment where it had nothing to do with my mom. It had everything to do with God. The old saints just say wooing me. But it had everything to do with God just leading me to do it. Like, nobody made me do any of this.
You make this decision around that time that you're all in, right?
Yes.
And music is all in. This is how long ago would you say?
When I graduated from high school, I feel like they're going to put the meme up, like when you said, like when you were born.
Yeah.
And then they put like the 7 last, sayings or something up. But I graduated in 2008.
Okay.
So this was around 2006, 2007, 8, where I was really just trying to figure that out. And truthfully speaking, one of the things that frustrates me looking back now is I really didn't have a pipeline of community that does what I do now, like singing and loving God. It was like you had participants, but you didn't have curators. And I was more of a curator of the things of God in the area and in community. And I never let a still moment make it seem like we didn't have anything. It was like, we can figure something out. We don't got a singer, I'll sing. We don't got a preacher, I'll preach. I never let those moments just be uncovered. It's like, we'll figure it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You make the decision to go all in on music. You do it solo, which I think is remarkable.
Scary.
When you started, I mean, what did you anticipate, or what did you think your career could look like at that point?
That is a good question. So when I first started, I had the hopes of building an audience that was so good that larger companies, RCA, Columbia, there's a division of Sony and Universal, one of them would come knocking at my door and saying, hey, it's a party going on and we're the only people that's not on the inside. That's what I thought I was going to build that way. Didn't happen that way. That's just what I thought it was going to happen, because, my very first concert with my choir, we recorded our first CD concert. That was 2010, January 29, 2010. And we recorded the CD and we had 3,000 people come out. And I'm just starting. Like, I don't have a Fred Hammond or a Kurt Franklin or a Chris Tomlin name or elevation. It's like, this wasn't the day of social media now where we kind of can analyze. This came from him having this many followers. It was literally this word of mouth thing that God just allowed to spread. So I'm thinking, hey, this is proof in the pudding. All these people are here. I'm writing these songs. It's all going to go well. I just thought that someone would come knocking on my door, and lo and behold, most of the success I had never came from anyone knocking on my door.
Did you ever get to a point where why isn't this happening? Because you still maintain this solo, kind of artist approach. And was there a point for you where okay, what gives?
Yes, I sometimes still find myself there. Believe it or not, so you would look at my stuff and be like, wow. But I think it's different being you and knowing how it has come into your grasp. But yeah, I feel that way some days still. Not that I don't have accomplishments. When I'm 80, people will still be singing my songs. You know what I'm saying? So I don't feel that way. I just feel like I know that there's more. So more than I don't complain about what God has done, but I sometimes do ask, however I do ask God, what's next? So that's how I kind of deal with my frustration, because there has to be a next. Because if what I'm living in now, an answered prayer, a unseen promise at the time. So I know that next is only going to snowball effect from what he's done this, because there's never been a time where he's, declined my career and my ministry. So I know there's an incline coming. It's just, what is it?
Well, I think even as an outsider, I can say that even on your own, I mean, the doors that have opened are incredible. I mean, for our people listening, you're being very humble. But I've read, I mean, you've sung with Stevie Wonder, you've sung with Beyonce, you've done work, for pro sports, for athletes, singing for people privately, and just in that avenue. And that's all been done, without that help and that support, which is truly incredible.
It's a miracle. I feel like my career is a miracle, and I feel like it was an apostolic, if I can use that word, an apostolic road where it's like, apostles always had to build in their traditional definition. They were builders. They built community. They built what the people need, and they heard, or God told them what they needed, and they supported those things. And I feel like I've had an apostolic career where the way I've come up is now a new format. It's now something that other artists, I get artists that I dreamt of talking to, they will talk to me and say, hey, how did you do such and such? And how did this happen? And it's like, God, I kept going. I mean, of course, there's some technical responses I can give, mechanical responses, but I do look at what God has done in my career, and I'm just like, this has to be your hand, because most people who are trying just as much as I am, that's better than I am at doing this, they haven't touched an ounce of what I have. And so I realize it's his favor, and it doesn't make me haughty. It humbles me, and it scares me to stay in a very low place so God can keep blessing what I'm doing and not, turning his back on it.
I am curious when you bring that up, though, because I've always wondered for people who sing or are in, the Christian music scene, and they gain success and they gain, hundreds of thousands or millions of people that listen to them or watch them, or people who pay to attend their concerts. Yeah. Where I'm guessing, as someone who's doing this as a Christian and doing this for, to glorify God, there is this balance of like, okay, I want to gain success, but I don't want it to be at the end of the day, like people coming here to worship me.
Absolutely.
How do you balance that?
Well, one of the balances for me, the way I came up, it was always more philanthropy style mindset. So singing at homegoing services are not concerts. So I'm already conditioned that I'm only here to help. I'm not here to be seen or be the star of the show. Like, first off, you don't want to be the star of someone else's homegoing service. So I quickly took on a different conditioning that, okay, I should be good so that I can help lift grief and sadness for at least 2 minutes when I'm singing. So I just got conditioned differently. But then when I got conditioned in the way that I am, it became harmful to a degree, because I don't want you to come to the concert and worship me, but I also don't want you to think that I'm in a position to be the president where I have something to give in all formats of what you need. One water, one plants, but God provides the increase. And I don't know which version am I tonight for you. I can be watering something, I can be planting something, but God has to provide the increase. So once I got older and I started to get bills and I got married and got children, it became more about not so much using my gift to take care of myself, because I think that's what it's there for, right? But it really became like, I have a wife and children, and if I get to share my time with them, I should bring something back for them.
You love this community. I mean, it's
North Side.
What keeps you here? Because I'm guessing when you're talking about opportunities, in music or doing the things that you're doing, you're looking at larger cities across the United States, or cities where maybe things are more concentrated. Was there ever a maybe I move my life to a different place?
Absolutely. Once again, I still think about that every day. Not every day, but it comes up at least within a year, maybe 3 times. That's not that many times when we have 4 quarters. But yes, I think about that. I think about with the gift that God has given me, and not just the singing piece, but the mobilization and the tenacity to keep going. I wonder what it would be like if I'm in Atlanta, if I was in Houston, if I was in LA. I do wonder that, because if God has blessed me here, where there is such a huge gap for music success, not just music artists, because everybody can sing and put out a record now and do a concert, but the actual traditional definition of the music business happened for a person. I mean, we see Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, Prince, Sounds of Blackness, Morris Day and the Time, but they're all some way, somehow interconnected. Like they all came up around the same time, a part of each other's productions and those big moments. But then you have like the Bible, when it has like the 400 years where they say it just went silent between the Old Testament and the New Testament. I feel like I've experienced to a degree some of the 400 years in Minneapolis when it comes to music artists, because you can go to Nashville and you have an amazing poppin' Christian artist on every corner. And you can go to Atlanta and there's an amazing gospel artist on every corner and then on every block corner. Like, but Minnesota is like, you have people, so I don't want to disregard those who have put labor in, but the labor that they've put in, me doing this for as long as I've been doing it now, which is not that long, it's still ceiling success. It's still local impact. It's not, mentioned with the other greats in our space. It's just mentioned maybe. And so, yes, I get those thoughts and those questions to myself, like, what would it be like if I were elsewhere? But I love North Minneapolis, and I think it would be unfair if me personally would say it hasn't happened from being here, because it has. So I also have to weigh out that thing that, yes, this is an unfair space, but God's favor has disregarded what was unfair, and I have the blessing.
And it seems like for you to be able to do it here would be really significant.
Yes.
Because, like you said, if you go to Atlanta or Nashville, you're one face in a crowd. But if you are able to do it here, it holds a different weight to it.
It holds an entire different weight. And I feel like I give people hope here that it's possible, versus just being this like trophy that no one can touch. Like, I don't want to be the trophy in the glass. I want to be the trophy that people can like touch and talk about and understand why it is there, not just marvel at it. And I feel like some of the former artists that I name, it became more of a marveling at who they are and what they've done than an actual pipeline so others can do it too.
You are at work in this community. You hold space in this community. Do you want to talk about some of the stuff that you do just on a regular basis?
Absolutely. I pastor this church called The Wave, Minnesota, and it's an amazing experience. We don't have church until 1:45 on Sundays, and I know that seems like, whoa, but when God gave me the concept, 1:45, it wasn't for brunch, because brunch is like this newfound thing that people do on Sundays. Like, I like brunch, but I'm like, when did we start doing this on Sundays? We went to church. I went to church. I never heard my aunts or my uncles talking about something. We going to brunch. So I didn't start at 1:45 to get the brunch crowd after, or to get the brunch crowd before. That was just a time frame, because at one point here, party nights was really Saturday nights. Like, that would be the night. And so they gave people time to sleep in and get their kids from grandmas or whoever their, babysitters were. And then you come to church. We are 10 years in, unorthodox. And then within that 10 years, 2021, we just started going every Sunday. And it wasn't like a traditional church plant. It just happened. And so that has been one of the places that I hold a lot of space for community. Like when I came in, I was having a conversation with, one of the members, and that's where I really like to bask in the humility, so that no matter how high God takes my singing career, that I'm always at the feet of Jesus by doing something for his people or being accessible in reasonable ways to, love on God's people. Like,
I am curious what keeps you coming back to your faith, because for so many people, I'm sure it is an active decision. What is it for you that throughout everything that you've lived and all the things you've done and all the things you've seen that keeps you saying, yes, this is it for me?
Absolutely. I need God's help. Like, everything looks good. Everything is good. I'm mentally sane. I'm physically well, and I could go on the blessing list. However, there's still those moments where it's like, I need to do better. I need to work on that. That's not good. I deserve more in this area, but maybe I need to humble myself to get that thing that I think I deserve, because God hasn't allowed it to come into my lap. So I think those self-reflections causes me to know that I need God, and everything that I have is literally from God. I mean, being from Minnesota, doing gospel music, I'm like an alien, to have the success that I have. So the only way to keep that is to keep the main thing, and that is needing God and relying on Him. So that's what keeps me coming back. And then now that I'm older, I think about my wife and kids and that responsibility. So that keeps me at Jesus' feet more than any of this stuff. But but that is now, my main squeeze of why I stay with the Lord.
Yeah, I think you talk about being humbled. Nothing will humble you more than being a father of young children.
Yes, it is. I mean, what we really don't talk about with being a parent is you become a servant. I'm like, when you have kids, remember that you are there to serve them. You need something to eat? I got to take you to school. They got to go to the doctor. They're only relying on you, and you are only there to serve them. And I think sometimes parenting is the framework is the authoritarian, but really it should be the servant.
I'm sure that has changed. It has, personally, for me, the way you see your relationship with God, of being a father yourself.
Yes.
How can people connect with you?
Absolutely. You can. I am on social media. Just Jovonta Patton, spell my name right. Fact check it in ChatGPT or Google. It'll help you. Go to the page that has the blue check. I got a blue check before they were charging for it. I woke up to one, okay? Like things like that in today's time. I got that in 2018. So cool. But you can connect with me on Instagram, Facebook, email at Watch the Pattons. My church, we have a text line, 612-429-5532. I'm not supposed to be looking at this camera, but I'm looking at you.
You're looking at our YouTube viewers are going to love that part.
Oh, well, hi, YouTube people. Yes, I'm looking at that part. Send me a collab. YouTube are collabing now. But yes, this has been fun, and this is great, and your producer is great. Adam, thank you for providing space for faith to be platformed and our stories to be told, because I think sometimes it's easy to credit me being a good singer and he worked hard, but I want all of those things to be said as well, but in tandem with God enabled me to do this, and I used that ability, and now He's given me this as the return.
Jovonta, it's awesome meeting you, chatting with you. Thank you for the opportunity. People, go find your new song.
Yes,
wherever
please.
You listen.
Wherever you listen, you can YouTube it, you can Apple Music, wherever you stream music. Heart me, like me. And if one of my songs come up on Pandora and you don't like it, still heart it. Let it play for 10 seconds and then go to the next song.
Jovonta Patton, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you again so much for taking the time to check out today's episode of Bigger Than Belief. That was a super fun conversation with Jovonta. It left us smiling, laughing, and just overall having a great time. Again, that brand new song out across all platforms, wherever you want to listen right now. If you did enjoy today's episode, please take a second and rate us 5 stars in the app, wherever you're listening right now. I'll say that every single episode. That is the #1 way you can help support this type of content. And if you really like today's episode, or if you've been listening for a while, please consider leaving a review for us in the app. Again, we are playing against the algorithm here. We're trying to break through with this type of content. If you enjoyed it, or you simply are looking for any sort of way to support us, doing those two things is the #1 way you you can do that. We'll be right back next Thursday, as we are every Thursday, with another brand new episode of Bigger Than Belief. We are really excited about the guest we have coming next week, so you're going to want to tune in and you won't want to miss that. But for now, folks, be well, and we will see you very soon.
Love podcasts? Love Minnesota?
Check out the WCCO podcast studio lineup.
Hear the top stories of the day with 4 things to know.
Discover top female athletes and teams from around the state on women in sports.
Dive into stories about faith and belief, from your local leaders to your neighbors next door, with Bigger Than Belief.
Stay in the know on the go with the WCCO podcast studio. Go to WCCO.com/podcasts.